Take a good look at it. Okay, I think I'm live. I'm always looking lost and confused. Anybody here? I've been listening to TLC all day. Don't ask me why. Take a look at it. Okay, my live stream just disappeared. What is going on here? Give me 2 seconds to pull it back up. Look at it now. Might be the last time you'll have a go round. I'll let you... Okay, I think I'm back. Alright, let me know if you guys can see me or hear me. I don't see none of the chats. Let me see if the chat room is enabled. Oh, Lord. It's the same thing every day. Here we go. Enable live chat. Alright, you guys. It's enabled. Happy Sunday, everybody. Alright, so far we got like 174 people in here. Hey, Erica. Hey, Shay. Heavens. Michelle's daughter, Dallas. Nice seeing you guys. All right, looks like everybody is popping up for this Sunday's episode of Documentaries and Discussions. Y'all hear me singing? You know what? I don't know what's up with the thumbnails. It seems like every time I go live, it ends up putting in the thumbnail from the week before. So I don't know. And then eventually it'll show the right thumbnail. But the thumbnail that should be on here should be the one of Kanye West that says fresh dress. But I don't know why YouTube does that. It constantly shows like the thumbnail from the previous week. If you guys do not know, YouTube is broken, okay? If you don't believe me, ask Keemstar. He has been ranting and raving all over social media. YouTube is broken. There's all types of glitches right now as far as like certain things on the back end. So sorry if the thumbnail does not match. We're not here to discuss the damn thumbnail, okay? What's up, VH1 Access? Reality TV News. Happy Sunday, everybody. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Oh yeah. Shout out to Miss Makiba. She was like, can you shout me out, T? Yes. Be safe coming from Boston. She's driving from Boston to Charlotte, and happy belated birthday to you. So I hope you guys are doing good this evening. I'm really enjoying these Sunday discussions. I feel like it's a chance for me to, talk to you guys, let my hair down, let my weave down. Whatever y'all want to call it. Thank you, Twinkle Star. I'm glad you guys love me. I love you guys, too. Shout out to my moderators. What's up, Wendia? Oh, Wendia says it's the correct thumbnail. Okay, thank you. You see how people do? She said it's the correct one, so I don't know. LaWanda from Tennessee. LaTaronda. I'm sorry. LaTaronda from Tennessee. She says, Tennessee loves you. I love you guys, too. MD all the way from Norway. Okay, shout out to y'all. Somebody said the mic is kind of low. Is it just me? Let me know. Can you guys hear me? The mic should just be fine. But let me know if you guys can't hear me and I can fix it. You might also have to turn up your volume on your end. I've turned it up a little bit. Can everybody hear me properly? Thank you. Felicia, you want to be a mod? I got you, sis. I'm going to make you a moderator. Give me 2 seconds because this chat room is like flying. Where did you go? Okay. All right. I got you down as a moderator. You got the power. Hey. Okay, good. The mic is great. Yes. I hope you guys are doing good. We have over 1,000 people in here. So it's been a lot of, I hope you guys got a chance to watch the documentary. It's one of my favorite documentaries on Netflix. Yes, I know it's a few years old, but I wanted to, because last week's topic was so heavy and it was so hard-hitting, I wanted to pick something a little bit lighter for this week. And then next week we'll go back to, more hard-hitting stuff. So I don't want to just, talk about racism and things like that 24/7. I want to hit other topics because I'm a very, multifaceted person. I like to talk about all types of stuff. So anyhow, Tiffany White says, what's a moderator? People who moderate the chat room from trolls and haters and stuff. India Freeman, thank you for the $5 donation. She said, hey T, I got 5 on it. Hey, messing with that Indo weed. I got 5. Y'all did not like to just sing random songs. That was the jam back in the day. Shout out to all the 90s kids, all the 80s babies. I know y'all was loving this documentary if y'all got a chance to watch it. So before we go there, we'll wait for a few more people. Hey girl, I'm gonna make you a moderator too. So let me see. So before we talk about the documentary, I wanted to show you guys something. I had a really good meeting with my YouTube manager the other day, and she made me feel so good. We had like a 2-hour meeting. Oh, my space heater just came on. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's kind of chilly in Minnesota. But anyways, we had a 2-hour meeting the other day. And so we were discussing my channel and just, you know, just everything that's been going on. And, you know, after I got done meeting with her, I felt so much better. She was showing me statistics of how far my channel has come, how many views I've gotten like the past 90 days. I wanted to show you guys this because I was just simply amazed, okay? So, let me make this public so y'all can see it. My channel has reached over 5.5 million viewers in the last 90 days. And those are unique viewers. Those are not regular subscribers. Those are not T-sippers. Those are unique, brand new viewers that just happened to come across my channel. And a lot of them ended up subscribing and staying. So in the past 90 days, my channel reached 5.5 million people. Like, I was so surprised when she sent me those numbers. And then she also told me that my watch time has increased so much in the past 3 years. And right now I've had over 2.6 million hours of watch time. So you know what? When she told me that, I was like super happy. Like, you know what? It lets me know I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to keep being myself. You know, people can say whatever they want to say, but obviously somebody's watching. Somebody's liking my damn content, you know. So I just told her thank you so much for showing me what she showed me, because it just lets me know that I'm going, you know, about it the right way. I'm doing the right thing. I don't have to do gimmicks and tricks and do all types of unbecoming shit just to get views. So I was super happy just, you know, for her to like share that information with me, because I never expected to reach that many people in 90 days, you know. And she's like, your channel is growing. You've done a good job. It's steadily on the upcline. So we will get to 1 million subscribers soon enough. But, you know, I'm a very patient person. And so I just want to thank you guys so much for the support and sharing my videos and coming through and creating the dialogue. You know, that's one thing I always pride myself in, is having a poppin' ass comment section. And that's one thing I love about my channel, is that there's always really good dialogue. We don't always have to agree, of course, you know, but it's always a good way to see what other people are thinking about particular topics. So thank you guys so much for like just all the support and all the love. It's definitely paying off. So I had a really good meeting on Friday, and I'm glad that me and her had a chance to like talk and just, you know, get everything out there. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Let's see. We got a $10 donation from Nick and Carla. Hey, 2 female truck drivers here. We love listening to you. Thank you guys so much. Please be safe. Enjoy your road trip. Enjoy your deliveries. I have a lot of truck drivers who listen to me. Shout out to everybody who's getting their CDL licenses. You know, that's a really good work. People don't think about that, but you can make good money driving trucks. So thank you guys for all you do, because you guys work hard to get us our products all over the country. So there's a lot of people in the chat room. Let's see here. Thank you, Chanel. I'm going to definitely keep it real, like always. MLS says, off topic, black folks in Minnesota. There's black people everywhere. Come on. Let's grow up. There's black folks everywhere. I don't live everywhere. There's plenty of black folks in Minnesota. There's more white folks up here, but there's a lot of black folks too, okay? Especially people from Chicago. Thank you, Queen Trinidad. I appreciate it. Yes, we have a lot of people in here. So we can go ahead and start getting the discussion popping. We can go ahead and start talking about Fresh Dress. I loved it. I love the documentary. For those of you guys who did not get a chance to watch it, basically, it's I'm going to kind of read to you guys what I wrote down, because I took some notes. From the beginning of hip-hop fashion, it's been a tug-of-war between relatability and aspiration. And in the documentary, they talk about everything, like how basically a lot of these big fashions started in New York, and a lot of it started with like some like the New York gang and street culture, like the Zulus and the what else were the other ones? The Savages. And so it starts you off in like the 70s and 80s, and how like, you know, these little gangs had to click up because it was just a lot of crazy stuff going on in the Bronx. And the one lady said she was the only family member living in a building that was supposed to house 50 families, okay? So it was a lot of like, you know, desperation. People were really poor. There was a lot of things going on. A lot of people clicked together and formed gangs, and they would make these like gang jackets and motorcycle type jackets. And so they start off by telling you about that. They talk about a young man named Benji who ended up getting killed during one of these gang disputes, and he was a peacemaker, and he was beat to death and killed. And so they decided to form a truce in New York, and the truce lasted for quite a bit of time. So they went from like kind of gang banging and getting into it to, instead of them fighting and stabbing each other, they decided to take it to the microphone and to, you know, start breakdancing. So it kind of just takes you from like that aspect of it all the way into like the hip hop aspect of it. And I also like the fact that they also talked about, you know, even back in slavery, how where we get the term dress for your Sunday best. You know, like when you're going to church, people put on their best outfits, their best hats. And they say that comes from a term in slavery where the slave masters, you know, in order for them to look like good Christians, to look like good slave masters, their slaves could look raggedy as hell Monday through Saturday. They could literally just have a shirt, no shoes, no drawers on. They didn't care. But on Sundays, their slaves had to be dressed well for when they went to church. So that way, because they were a reflection of the slave master. So that's where they get the whole, you know, being dressed in your Sunday best from. So I thought that was really interesting. And then they showed pictures of like people who were in slavery and, you know, coming out of slavery, and how even though they didn't have anything, you know what I'm saying, you could see how much pride they had in their clothing and their attire and how they put it together. There was one chick they had, and she's like sitting on a chair, and I'm like, imagine if they had Instagram back then. Like, these folks would be straight up stunting, you know what I mean? So I thought that was really interesting how they kind of tied all that in. So let me go to the chat room here. Let's see. Anime Babe 92 says, thank you for what you're doing for the community. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. I appreciate it. Okay, so Neron, when I do the posts for the documentaries, I post them on YouTube. I basically post them on here, and it's going to be under the events tab, and it's going to let you know if there's an event coming up, which is a live stream. I also post them on my Instagram page and on Twitter as well. So you have to follow my social media pages, but I post everything by Tuesday. So every Tuesday, I'm going to let you know what the documentary or what the topic will be, and then people join me on Sunday. So that's for people who don't know, because I know a lot of people have been asking, like, okay, well, how do I find out? That's how you find out. Thank you, Jawa. I appreciate it. So Nikki says, wow, I never knew that Sunday dress meant that. That's really interesting. Yes, that's where it comes from the slaves, and how the slave masters used to give them really nice clothes to wear on Sunday. So that way, you know, they were seen as good Christians. So that was like a really interesting part of the documentary. Let me see here. I took some other notes as well. So, like I said, I really liked how they talked about, like, you know, the street gang aspect of it, and how they went from fighting over colors and jackets and things like that to, like, basically taking it to the microphone and taking it to, you know, breakdancing and b-boying. You know, you guys saw them. I don't know what that show was that they show in the beginning, where they have, it's two Puerto Ricans, it's a Puerto Rican chick and a Puerto Rican dude, and he's asking, like, you know, what are your outfit, like, you know, what does that symbolize? And they're talking about, oh, I'm dressed fresh. I got my Adidas on with my fat laces, got my Kango with my gazelle glasses. I don't know what show that was, 'cause I didn't grow up in New York, but I thought that was like a dope show. I'm like, I wish I would have been able to watch that when I was a kid. You know, like we would get, you know, what did we watch? Star Search. That's what we got in the Midwest. So I don't know what show this was, but I thought it was really, really dope how they had, like, you know, these kids showing off their fashions. And it just shows you how innovative we are as a people. You know, how minorities, you know, how we can come from nothing, live in the projects, projects. We don't have a whole lot, and we will invent some stuff and create our own style. I thought it was really dope how they made the fat laces. I never knew that, because by the time, you know, I grew up and was buying shoes, you could just go to Foot Locker and buy fat laces. But back in the day, you couldn't buy fat laces. So what these kids did, right, the kids that were growing up in the Bronx and in Brooklyn, they took regular shoelaces, they stretched them out by hand, they sprayed it with starch, and then they ironed them. And that's how they got the fat shoelaces. And it's so crazy that these poor Black and Puerto Rican and minority kids invented that, only for corporate America to see what they were doing, to see their style, jack it, and then monetize it. And now, like I said, you go to Foot Locker, you can buy fat laces for $10. But they got this from these kids way back then, and those kids are not going to see a dime of that money. So it was really interesting how they show how a lot of these corporations come to the hood, they come to the projects, and they basically, you know, take our style, they take our inventions, and then they repackage it and then sell it to the rest of America. Let's see, what are y'all saying? So Watchful Seer says, I love the fat laces. Yeah, I thought that was dope. I didn't know. I just assumed they bought them at the store. But to hear that that's how they made them, these kids invented that. Like, fat laces were not around before the kids in the Bronx and in Brooklyn started, you know, doing that style. And then, you know, it caught on with the mainstream. So I thought that was really interesting. Miss Gina says, you have great topics, love. I love how you wake us up about new things and new meanings. Keep up the good work, sis. Love you, boo. Love you, too. Thank you so much. Pretty Jackson, yes. Do y'all remember Star Search? I grew up in the Midwest. That's what we watched with Star Search. Come on now. Destiny's Child was on there. I think, like, Britney Spears made it onto Star Search. Am I the only one who watched Star Search as a kid? Let's see here. T. Monique says, corporations always take from us. Yes, they do. Alexis says, like the Kardashians. Bridget says, oh my, you make me want to pull out my old photo albums. My brothers used to rock mock necks and wallabies. Okay, so now let me ask y'all, okay? I want to know where everybody's from, and I'm going to start reading it in the chat room. And we're going to guess, depending on the style, where you were raised, okay? So think back to being in 7th grade, right? In junior high, think back to being in 7th grade. If you're in junior high now, it doesn't count for you, okay? My youngest is in 7th grade. So think back to when you were in 7th grade. What was the most poppin' style? What was the most poppin' name brand? What type of fashion did you wear? How did you dress when you were in the 7th grade? And I'm going to start reading some stuff. Okay, good. I'm glad that other people watched Star Search. It wasn't just me. Okay, cool. So I want to know what y'all wore. I see y'all naming y'all cities, Baltimore and Illinois and New Jersey. So what did y'all wear? What did we wear in Baltimore? Let me know. Brooklyn, okay. The Bronx, Long Island. What did y'all wear? Y'all just naming y'all cities. What did y'all wear? Okay, so Christina says, hold on. Okay, it's going fast. So Praise says she wore baby fat. Blue Diamond says she wore LA Gear. I wonder if Blue Diamond is from the West Coast. Let's see. Parasuco jeans. That's what Shayna wore. Somebody else said baby fat, beautiful bliss. Sheffy Love says Fila. Patrice Sloss says velvet jumpsuits. Jay Real says Guess and Fubu. Okay. Moni Love says Aeropostale jackets were the shit. You wasn't nobody until you had one. Jovel says Fubu fat bottoms, and he was out there in Cali. LOL, New Jersey was one pant leg up. I remember we did that in the Midwest for a while. Then they were like it was gang stuff, and they shut it down. Where the Southerners at? What did y'all wear down south? The people who grew up in like the Carolinas and stuff. What did y'all wear? Monique says Pro Clubs and Chucks, and she's from Cali. Kiki says cross colors. Somebody said red bottoms. Come on, there weren't no damn red bottoms back then. She must be in 7th grade right now. She talking about some red bottoms. Mississippi wore No Limit. Okay. Georgia, Chuck Taylors. Jersey Girl says Lee suits, Pumas, Adidas, bubblegum jeans. Nikki grew up in Oakland. She says starter jackets. Yes, and LA Gear. Y'all remember the starter jacket jacks? I remember when I was like in, I believe, 4th or 5th grade, it was popping back then. Like, everybody had starter jackets. My mom and dad would not get us a starter jacket because back then it was so dangerous to wear them. You would get jacked. So many kids was getting jacked and beat up in Minneapolis for their starter jackets. It was insane. So I never had one. But I remember I always wanted a LA Raiders starter jacket. And then by the time I could save up and get my own, it was like 7th grade. And by then they weren't as popular. But yeah, I never got to wear one like at the height of the starter jacket craze. So that's funny that you brought that up. Lola says she shopped at the swap meet. Nothing wrong with that, sis. Skittles says tall tees and airbrush gear. Airbrush gear with forces in Dallas. Okay. Medusa says I have no style. I wore off-brand jeans, sweatpants, and any old shirt with a cool design. I'm not mad at you. I didn't have a lot of name brand stuff growing up either. At all. Okay, the overalls and Tim's. Y'all remember when people used to wear the overalls, but you would have like one overall hanging off? Did y'all do that, or was that just a Minneapolis thing? And we go to the roller skating rink. You had to have one overall button clipped, and the other one was hanging off. We get a lot of our styles from like the music videos back then. So Tab is from Strong Island. They wore called Kanai. Sheffy Love says they wore Payless and coasters. Me too. Y'all remember them Payless shoes? Everybody called them white girls. Were we the only ones who called Payless shoes white girls? They were those white canvas shoes, and they came in a bunch of colors. You get them in purple, pink, black, green, but everybody called them the white girl shoes. And who remembers jelly slippers? That was big in the 90s. So Go Girl says they wore British Knights and K-Swiss. Okay. So in Louisiana, y'all wore Baby Fat and Gap. Somebody else says they wore, oh, I don't know, disappeared. Jeans with leather in the front. Okay. Somebody else is saying British Knights and Elise's. I remember Elise's. I had a pair of those. And I got clownt. I got clowned so bad. I used to get made fun of all the time because that was my only pair of shoes, was a pair of Elise's, and all the other kids had Jordans, but my parents could not afford to buy me Jordans, so I always got clowned for my pair of Elise's that cost $15. Oh my goodness. How the tables have damn turned. So Mock says, so in junior high you were wearing Juicy Couture, so you got to be young. That's some new stuff right there. So Sarah says she had Keds, Jordans, Timberlands. Some people dress like crisscross. Okay, acid wash jeans. Lynette, you got to be an 80s baby, 90s child, because that's some acid wash. That's some 90s and 80s type stuff. Oh, my goodness. So it's so funny to see, like, you know, how different, you know, people dress in different parts of the country. That's really interesting. Somebody else is saying Bally shoes. In Gary, Indiana, we had pleather dresses. Okay. Checkered clothing. Gloria Vanderbilt. And Vidal Sassoon. Adriana Hall, honey, you had some money. She's talking about some Gloria Vanderbilt. Okay. Tamara says Reebok Classics. Man, that's what's up. Okay, somebody in South Carolina said they wore Jordache, Calvin Klein jeans, Izod, Puma, Pony, and acid wash. Somebody else says Osh Gosh Bagosh. We had somebody who wore Coogee. Okay. So it's so funny how, like, you know, there's different styles. And it's even funny how, like, the styles are coming back. You know, like, a lot of stuff that we saw back then are coming back. I remember back in, like, the early 2000s. I don't know if y'all remember. But remember when everybody said, like, tie those little beaded belts, like, around their jeans? And they're, like, these beaded belts. And they would have, like, beads on them and everything. There was, like, the style. Destiny's Child wore it, and then you would get jeans and they come with these beaded belts. And I'm thinking it's like the newest thing. I had all these different beaded belts. And I remember my mother-in-law back then telling me, she was like, oh, we used to wear those in the 70s. I was like, huh? What you mean in the 70s? Destiny's Child just wore this in their music video. She was like, no, there's nothing new under the sun. She was like, we used to wear those back in the day. We used to make them in the 70s. And it's so funny now how the styles are coming back. Like, I remember recently I seen that Jenko jeans were coming back. I seen, what's his name? Little Uzi Vert, a.k.a. Little Lucifer. He had on some Jenko jeans. And I remember wearing those back in, like, you know, high school, those big elephant bales. They were like those big elephant pants, but they weren't hip huggers. They were just like, they were straight. They didn't, hug your thighs or nothing, but they were just really wide. They were 30 inches. And I remember all the skaters used to wear them. I had a pair. I wish I could find a picture of me in them. I used to wear them with a crop top when I was in the 10th grade, so yeah, it's like styles come back. So it's funny now to see like this generation of kids now wearing Janko jeans as well. And it's like, I remember all the goth kids used to rock them in high school. So it's funny how fashion ends up coming back. There's nothing new under the sun. Yes, they were on all the mud jeans. Thank you, Vita. All the mud jeans came with those little belts, that you could wear, and they were beaded and they were long and they were nice. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like a cover up, so it was kind of like nice. And then when you be dancing, they would shake and shimmer. I got way too many memories. Okay, let's see here. No, Fila's never left. They're still around. They're just not as popular. Yes, rainbows and dots. And see, that's the thing that has me tripped out with like a lot of these kids. When I was growing up, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I didn't know a lot about like name brand stuff. And maybe because I grew up in the Midwest, I didn't grow up in New York. So watching this documentary like really opened my eyes, because I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that people, were so into these name brands way back then, because I really didn't start knowing about like high-end fashion until I started hearing them in rap songs. And I'm gonna tell you who really put me onto like high fashion was Lil' Kim, because she be rapping about, Dolce and Gabbana and Prada, and like that song, no time for fake ones, just sip some crystal with these real ones. In that song, and she was like naming so many designers. I'm like, who is that? And I would go and like look it up on the internet. Like, I didn't know nothing about Prada, Gucci, none of that stuff. I was a broke ass kid in the Midwest. Okay, we shopped at Dots, we shopped at Rainbows. Most of my clothes were no more than like $10-20. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I got to high school and got around like other kids. Like at our high school, you had like a good mixture of kids, rich, poor. Then you had some kids who like came to our high school from like New York and stuff like that. So then they kind of brought their style with them. So that's how I learned about like more high fashion stuff, was in high school. But growing up, I was none the wiser. It's like I was just happy to have like, clothes. But I noticed with like this generation, they're so stuck on just high end, just super expensive stuff. And that's the part that just like, I don't know, it's like, just be a kid. Like, enjoy getting dirty. Like, I just cringe every time like my kids say something about Supreme. And it's like, I'll go and I'll look at it and I'm like, I'm not paying $200 for a Supreme shirt. I'm just not doing it. You know what I'm saying? I don't even own a shirt that's $200. Like, I don't feel comfortable with a kid in junior high wearing a Supreme shirt for $200. But these parents buy that stuff for their kids. Like a lot of my friends, my kids' friends, they rock Supreme all the time. They're, you go to these schools, these kids are walking around with, Hermes belts and Gucci belts and, Ferragamo. And I'm like, how y'all affording this stuff? But it's the parents buying that stuff for them. I remember when my son was 11, my youngest, I asked him, I said, what do you want for your birthday? And he told me a Versace robe. I'm like, a Versace robe? I don't even have a Versace robe. And I said, well, how do you know about Versace? I'm not walking around the house in Versace and, high-end shit. Like, how do you even know Versace? And he was like, oh, the Migos. Versace. Like, he wants a Versace robe so bad. And I'm just like, you need to get a job, put in some work, and then go buy yourself a Versace robe. I'm not buying a Versace robe for an 11-year-old. He's 13 now, but that's back when he was 11. So I feel like these kids nowadays, they're so worried about like keeping up this image and this image in hip hop and keeping up with like these young up and coming celebrities on social media, as opposed to just being kids. You guys, why do you think that is, that so many young kids are just so enamored with high fashion? Because when we were kids, I was none the wiser. And I guess if you grew up in New York, you probably knew about high fashion if you grew up in LA. But for us who are in the Midwest, I'm not saying that, people in the Midwest didn't know about high fashion. I'm speaking about me. I didn't know a lot about high fashion. To me, the highest fashion to me was Tommy Hilfiger. I didn't know about any of that stuff, any of those fashion houses, until I got to like high school and older. So let me see what y'all saying in this comment section here. Yep, everything that's old is new again. Yeah, everything recycles itself. Gucci flip-flops on the Christmas list because of Future. Yep, a lot of rappers, the things they talk about is why a lot of these kids want those items. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I don't have Versace, but yet I had my 11-year-old tell me he wanted a Versace robe. Why? Because he watched it in the Migos video with Drake in the Versace song. So, yeah, you have a lot of kids this year, they want Gucci flip-flops. Why? Because of Danielle Bugoli, the Cash Me Outside girl. Her hot song is called Gucci flip-flops. And Gucci's definitely seeing an increase in sales. I'm just reading some of the comments. I remember Apple Bottom. And Apple Bottom, they were really popular for a while. And then they bounced. Yes, Versace. So Jaden Phyllis, thank you for the $4.99 donation. He says, thank you for inspiring me. You are more than welcome, love. You definitely are. Yeah, there's a lot of fake and bootleg stuff out here. I know a lot of people know about that. Tamara says, I'm glad my 8-year-old wears uniforms. Yeah, at certain schools, it makes it easier if the kids are wearing uniforms, but it still doesn't stop them from, you know, seeing certain things and hearing their friends talk about it. I mean, if you just listen to, like, a group of teenagers nowadays, I mean, the stuff that they have, to me, it just surprises me. Like, my sons, they had a homecoming dance, my oldest son, and he was telling me how, like, a lot of the girls were, like, you know, coming through in, like, Givenchy, you know, Givenchy dresses and, you know, like really high-end dresses and like, you know, Louis Vuitton handbags. And I'm like, for homecoming? Like we had airbrush t-shirts, you know what I'm saying, baggy jeans, and we matched our date. You know what I mean? Like we had like either t-shirts or sometimes you wear a flannel, like a $15 nautical flannel for Marshalls. These girls was coming through homecoming with like Louis Vuitton outfits and everything else. So it's insane. But again, it's the parents. These kids don't have this money to buy like, you know, these high-end brands. It's the parents who are buying it for the kids. Shout out to the Wiley Show. He says, thank you, love you. I love you too, Wiley. Keep up the great job on your channel. Keep doing your thing. Gina says, I be taking all 3 of my kids to the thrift store. They still have cute stuff for kids. There's a lot of cute stuff at the thrift store. Nothing wrong with that at all. Chance says, a lot of these rappers are renting these things for their videos. But anyways, don't go broke trying to look rich when you're not. Exactly. And that's my whole point. A lot of people are faking it till they make it. Who was the one, they said she was like taking pictures of people, you know, in like high-end clothes on Instagram and then leaving with, was it Nicki Minaj? It was something we posted recently. It was like a story where somebody was trying to sue her because a lot of these people, they'll do these photo shoots, right, on Instagram and all this high-end gear. So you'll literally see somebody wearing like almost, you know, $10,000 worth of clothing and jewelry. And it's like, where the fuck are y'all going? That's always like my question when I see people do these high-end photo shoots simply for Instagram. This is not for a magazine. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not for a television show. It's literally for the gram. And then unfortunately, you have a lot of teenagers and young people. They see that. They see these, you know, reality TV stars, you know, doing these photo shoots with like all Fendi on and you know, jewelry and everything else. And then they want to go out and emulate that. And like, I believe it was Chauncey was saying that you shouldn't go broke trying to emulate something that you see on social media, because a lot of these people, they're just wearing that clothing for the moment. They're just wearing it for that brand. They're getting paid to be a brand ambassador. They're getting those clothes free. And then when you go and try and grab those same outfits, they might just break you if you don't know what you're doing. Let's see here. Paula Abdul said they're always stealing clothes. Yes. Celebrities are they're very known for taking shit off of sets, clothing, jewelry, all types of stuff. And then let me see here. It's moving so fast. Let's see. Obito says, actually, a lot of rich people don't really wear expensive clothing in their day-to-day lives. And that is a great point. The main person I can think about who was like that was the CEO, owner, and inventor of Apple. And why is his name like, my mind just went blank. The Apple CEO that died. Y'all help me out. My mind just went blank. But he always wore the black turtleneck and regular jeans. And this man was worth millions of dollars, okay? Damn near billions if I, now that I think he became a billionaire before he died. But he was worth so much money, but look how he was dressed. I'm thinking about Tim Cook, but Tim Cook is the new CEO. Why can I not think about the old guy's name? The one that died. It's like Steve Jobs. Thank you. Steve Jobs. Yes. Look how Steve Jobs dressed. Look how Bill and Melinda Gates dressed. You know what I'm saying? Very simple. You don't know what brand they're wearing. Just regular everyday stuff. And that's one thing I learned when I lived in LA is that the ones who do the most showboating, the ones who are out there, riding around in Bentleys and Porsches and stuff like that, a lot of them were renting that just for the party for the night, whatever event that we were going to. A lot of people would rent these high-end cars, but then they're taking the bus Monday morning. Whereas the people who really actually would have money in LA, you would never know it. Most of those people, you wouldn't even recognize them. You see them at Walmart and not even know that this person that you're shopping alongside is a millionaire because they don't want that unneeded attention. It's the people who are faking it till they make it who feel the need to have the most attention. People who already have it, they don't need it. I hope you guys are enjoying this table talk with me. Yes, Mark Zuckerberg is the same way. You don't see him walking around with a bunch of Prada, Louis, Gucci, none of that stuff. He's just dressed like a regular guy. I also hear he just drives like a regular vehicle. He doesn't even have like a high-end car. And of course he could afford it, you know what I mean? So it's very interesting, the mentality. And that's the one thing they talked about in the documentary is that, our mentality, especially for black people, is that a lot of times we may not have anything. Like, think about that crew that was stealing shit. There was a whole crew. I never knew about this crew, but you guys in New York probably do. They were from Brooklyn. And the guy, he went by the name Polo Rican. I believe that's his name. I wrote it down. Let me look really quick. Okay, they was the low life crew, okay? They were the low life crew, and what they did, they would go around just basically stealing all types of polo gear, okay? They would go down to Manhattan, they'd be like 30, 40 deep, they'd all run into the polo store, just grab shit randomly and run out, then they go back to the Bronx, they go back to Brooklyn, and they'd sell this stuff on the street, they'd be taking pictures in the club, everything. And so because of them doing all of this, them wanting that gear and everything else, people who were in the hip-hop business, who were rappers and stuff like that, they seen, this low-life crew, they seen them wearing all this polo, and then, of course, because hip-hop mirrors itself with the street, then you had a bunch of rappers like Trick Daddy and other rappers rapping about polo and really helping to put polo on the map. So, while these guys were out here robbing polo stores and wearing polo all through the Bronx and through Brooklyn, and they're doing all this and that, they didn't build any generational wealth for themselves, but they managed to be free advertising for polo. So polo really became well known because of this crew that was out there stealing their gear and basically was free advertising for polo. And another thing I found really interesting about that documentary is when the Puerto Rican guy, Polo Rican, when he said, I would have the freshest polo gear in the hood, but then when I go back home, I didn't even have furniture. So it just shows you, unfortunately, a lot of people's mentalities. It's all about the external. It's all about putting on an image and a facade for the streets to have people think that you really got it like that because of how you're dressed, because of your clothes, your shoes. But then when you go back home, you ain't got no lights. You ain't got no furniture. And they kept that real. And unfortunately, that's the mentality a lot of people have. And that's why I say people who really have money, they don't have to advertise it. They don't have to wear their money because they know they're good. You know what I'm saying? Their bank account is good. They don't have to show it off like some people do in the street. That's a good point. So Magnetic Source says, I've always been told that in our community, a lot of times we're too flashy, and as I got older, I saw it for myself, and I still see it to this day. No, you're absolutely right. It's the truth. It is the truth. And there's nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with wearing high-end stuff. There's nothing wrong if you like Polo, Versace, Gucci. I'm not doing this discussion to bash you. Some people really enjoy and love high-end stuff, you know, high-end purses. I have a few, you know what I'm saying, high-end stuff, you know what I mean? So let me not front. I have a few things, you know, I buy. And I think for me, when I buy high-end stuff, I do it out of curiosity. Almost like, well, what's the big deal? Like, you know, I know when I first bought my first pair of red bottoms, they were not cheap, okay? Let me tell you. And I bought it because I see all these influencers, you know, wearing red bottoms and, you know, talking about their red bottoms and everything. So I spent all this money on a pair of red bottoms. And, you know, I was like, okay, cool. I got my red bottoms on, you know, do my little model walk and shit like that. And guess what? An hour later, my damn feet were hurting. Like, I thought because these shoes cost, you know, several $100s, somehow I was going to feel like I was walking on a cloud. Them damn several $100 shoes, you know what I'm saying, hurt my feet just like the damn $25 shoes I've been buying at damn Charlotte Russe. So, you know, that was my lesson for me. Like, just because it's high end, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just what you put, the value that you put into these items. At the end of the day, a shoe is a shoe, but it's just the value that we put into that shoe. A shirt, this shirt right here, you know what I'm saying, cost me $9. I got it from Walmart. You know, and people make fun of me all the time, like, why do you shop at Walmart? Like, you could, you know, I could afford to go buy a Gucci shirt and sit up and do commentary in Gucci and Louis, but that's just not me. You know what I'm saying? I'm more comfortable in something like this. I'd rather take my money and invest it into something where I can see my return. You know, when I bought those expensive ass shoes, I saw no return. I didn't get anything out of it but some hurt feet. And I was out of money, you know what I'm saying? And it's cool to wear. I'm not going to knock it. They're pretty. They're sexy shoes. But at the end of the day, you know, am I going to have a whole closet of nothing but red bottoms? No, because that's not me. But if that's you, do you. If you have the money to spend and splurge, do you. That's your business. But, you know, I like whatever makes me feel comfortable, you know. So feel free to insert judgment because I'm wearing a shirt from Walmart that cost $9. Oh, my goodness. Y'all know I'm gonna always keep it real. I'm sorry. I could have lied and been like, oh, this shirt is, you know, it's Ralph Lauren. I paid $200 for this shirt. Hell no, it came from Walmart, okay? $9. Look, Carissa says, I worked at Walmart. They actually got some cute stuff. They do. They really do. They got some cute stuff at Walmart. C says, exactly. Stick to shoe dazzle. DeAndre says, T, what are your thoughts on Queen Naja? She spent $10K on a Rolex for a man that she met after a few months and she's not pregnant by him. I don't know too much about Queen Naja. I'm not into those type of YouTubers. I don't care about relationship YouTubers. People who do family vlogs. I'm just not into it because it comes off as fake. And they're just doing it for views. They're just doing it, you know, for their subscribers, and it ends up being like a reality TV show drama. So I don't know about them. I don't watch their videos. I know she has, like, you know, music out. She's made it onto the Billboard. She's doing her thing. She got knocked up by a man that she claimed that was her friend pretty quickly, you know, being that she just broke up with Chris Sales and she ended up pregnant by the other guy, which I do believe she was creeping with the other guy and got pregnant by him. But as far as her buying a $10,000 Rolex, you know, if she likes it, I love it. You know, that's her business. You know, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, if she's buying him a $10,000 Rolex, where's her mentality at? You know, that's a lot of money to spend on somebody that you've only been with for a short amount of time. But then it also shows you, you know, when you get hits like that on YouTube, when you have a certain amount of subscribers, they're also raking in the money and the views so they can afford to kind of splurge on things like that. So I never get mad at what people do with their money. You know, that's their business. All I can do is worry about myself and, you know, my financial status and make sure I'm good. You know, so like I said, if she likes it, I love it. But as far as like their whole storyline and just all the craziness that's going on with them and their relationship, I just don't care. I'm not into those type of YouTubers at all. I don't do stories on them. I just can't sit and watch somebody's relationship play out on the internet because I know as soon as they turn it off, the shit is just so fake. It's so contrived. They're trying to show they're so in love. Look how many people looked at her and Chris Sales as relationship goals, only for them to like break up and now she's pregnant by somebody else. So that's why I just don't take those YouTube relationships seriously. A lot of them are, you know, are doing it for views. They're doing it for money. And a lot of those couples are cutesy wootsy. And people look at them and they live vicariously through them. I'm too old for that shit. I'm not interested in those channels whatsoever. So TC Collins says, my mama used to sell us a $200 shirt. Tell us that a $200 shirt is the same as a $5 shirt. The only difference is you're paying for a name. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. There's been studies that they've done with children where they've had the same shirt. Let's say it's a gray t-shirt, right? So they'll have 3 gray t-shirts. And one will have no logo, no nothing. And then, you know, one will have like a small logo. And then the other one will have Nike, you know, splashed across there. And all of the kids will think that the Nike shirt is more high-end. It's better quality. And it's literally the same shirt. All they did was stitch a Nike sign on there. So again, the reason why brands are so popular and, you know, is because of the value that we put into those brands. It's because of the stock that we put into those brands. If we put the same amount of value into just regular schmegler brands, then, you know, the House of Hermes and Versace, they wouldn't be what they are. You know what I'm saying? You're buying into a dream. And they speak about this, and I love what they talked about. Oh my God, it's already 6:44. I don't want this to be a super long live stream. Let me get back on one of the topics here. But they addressed that. They really addressed how, you know, we don't support a lot of the black brands that were out that were once really popular. But before we get on to that part, did you guys know that one of the ways that Tommy Hilfiger got really popular is that he would come to the hood. He would go to the hood in New York. And he would go out there and give away free samples of his shirts, his pants, and everything else. So you have all these black folks in the hood, once again, wearing Tommy Hilfiger and everything. And so then you have, again, the rappers in New York looking at the street culture, seeing what people are wearing. And then all of a sudden in the late 90s, you just get this explosion of Tommy Hilfiger everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Tommy Hilfiger shows. Aaliyah was doing modeling for him. Genuine. Snoop Dogg. Like, you just see like this huge explosion of Tommy Hilfiger. But that's how Tommy Hilfiger really got solidified, is because he would go to the hood and give all these black folks free clothes. And they were his walking advertisement. And they didn't get paid a dime. And now he's been able to build generational wealth off of that. So they definitely addressed that as well in the documentary. Another thing I want to talk about that I really loved, in case you guys missed it. Let me see. I got a donation. The Crazy Braider. Hey, Miss T. Wanted to say I love watching your videos. Keep doing your thing. Always great content. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I wanted to say this real quick. One of the stories that I really loved that they touched on in Fresh Dress was how cross colors came to be. Now, if you guys are 90s kids, you guys know about cross colors. Let me go ahead and refresh some of the babies. We got some babies in here who are now in 7th grade, okay? So this was cross colors. That was their logo. It was really popular back in the day. People like, what's their name? TLC. You have Marky Mark. And this picture just cracks me up because you see Marky Mark. He's like this white rapper back in the day. He's related to, I believe, one of the New Kids on the Block members. He was his brother, Danny Wahlberg. That's what it was. And it says here, he's wearing a Malcolm X t-shirt that says, by any means necessary, with a cross-color hat. Like, that's how inclusive things were in the 90s. And you had a lot of, you know, white boys rocking it and things like that. So that was cross colors. It was super popular. Unfortunately, my family could not afford cross colors. But one of my really good friends back in 5th, 6th grade, she was a beautiful girl. She was black and Mexican, real pretty, and her family had money. So she used to wear cross colors all the time. And, you know, I was always like the broke, poor, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have shit, just regular stuff. So sometimes she would give me like a cross color shirt and things like that. And I remember she really liked cross colors because that's around the time that TLC was coming out. And I remember for Christmas that year, because her rich, spoiled self, she got not 1 but 2 TLC tapes. And she ended up giving me a TLC tape, one of the ones that she got that was extra. And it was Ooh on the TLC tip. And that's like just one of my favorite albums to this day. I'm a huge TLC fan. And I remember like watching those videos and seeing cross colors and, you know, Left Eye, T-Boz Chili wearing like the baggy clothes. And so a lot of people in hip hop were rocking cross colors back then. And so the guy who started cross colors, his name was Carl. And I'm just trying to get the information here. I took a lot of notes, so bear with me here. So, so he started Cross Colors. He started it from the ground up. And what I found really interesting about, like, his story, you know, he tried to get Cross Colors, you know, sold in regular department stores, and they were saying that it was too urban and they weren't interested. And so Cross Colors had a really big run. I mean, you saw them on Martin, you saw them in the Fresh Prince, you saw Cross Colors everywhere. And because of TV shows and musicians, it really, you know, kept that momentum going. Then I remember by the time I got to junior high, Cross Colors were dead. It wasn't as popular anymore. And what I found really interesting is that Karl Kani, that's when he started his own clothing line. And this was really dope to hear because at the time he was only 22 years old. And he decided that he wanted to take, you know, the style that he saw like in the streets of Brooklyn and stuff like that out there in New York. He wanted to bring them to LA and, you know, try and, you know, get help from somebody to help him start his fashion line. And so that's what he did. He went all the way out to LA. You know, he started getting his pieces sewn. He said what they ended up doing, they ended up renting a house. He sold all of the furniture. You know, this is just what goes to show you how people can just be so inventive. And when you really have a goal and you believe in yourself, you'll do anything to attain that goal. And FUBU kind of did the same thing too. They hired people, you know, they slept on floors. They just really was grinding to just, you know, put out this, the clothing, right? So he said by happenstance, he ended up going to a fashion show. And the guy who invented Cross Colors, his name is Karl as well. He ended up running into him and he asked Karl, like, you know, I'm starting to get a name, but I need help. I want to know how I can make my, you know, my brand mainstream. And instead of Karl having a crab in the barrel mentality, because unfortunately sometimes in our community, we like to be the only one. We don't want to, you know, turn around and help other people. We feel like, you know what, you know, you're just trying to be like me. You're just trying to bite me. He said, okay, you know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to help you get into the game. You know, we can go into this as a partnership. And they ended up partnering. So the guy from Cross Colors ended up partnering with Karl Kani. And that's how Karl Kani became really popular. And what was really interesting is when he talked about Tupac, because Tupac is the one who really put Karl Kani on the map. Because I remember him wearing the Karl Kani shirt in the Keeping Your Head Up video and in magazines and stuff like that. So he said, he went to go visit Tupac, and at the time, Tupac was writing a script. And he said, you know, the only time he looked up from his script was to answer this one particular question. So Karl Kani is talking to him. Tupac is just typing away. And Karl Kani says, you know, Pac, if I give you some shirts, could you wear them in like a music video and a magazine? You know, how much do I have to pay you? And Tupac looked at him and said, you don't have to pay me anything. You're black. And I thought that was such a dope story. And it just showed like how much unity, you know, people had back then, because this was a new thing. You know, people were just starting to get money. Before, hip-hop was more or less for fun, but this was like before the whole corporate entity got involved into hip-hop. It was starting to get involved, but not really. So Tupac really helped to put Karl Kani on the map, and Karl Kani feels like he's forever, you know, indebted to Tupac because of that. And they also talked about FUBU and how LL Cool J helped to like put FUBU on the map when he did that Gap commercial where he was rapping. And I remember that commercial like back in like junior high, when he was rapping and he had on the FUBU hat. And so, you know, they talked about this, and it's just amazing how many black brands, black-owned brands, even FUBU stood for us, by us, how many of those black brands that we had back then, and we don't have that anymore. And so I want to play you guys this small snippet from the documentary where they kind of break it down as to why those brands have fallen by the wayside. But meanwhile, brands like Ralph Lauren Polo, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Ferragamo, you know, all these other brands have just, you know, they stood the test of time. And why is that? So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you guys. Go ahead and check this out really quick.
Prada, Gucci, Ferragamo, Cavalli, Versace, John Richmond, you know, Dolce & Gabbana, those kind of brands.
You know, back when I was running Cross Colors and Karl Kani, the artists were talking about Cross Colors and Karl Kani. So I think it's what was being preached to that consumer and that audience that loves their music. So now it's at a point where it's about Versace and it's about those high-end brands.
Versace, Medusa head on me like I'm Illuminati. I know that you like it. Versace, my neck and my wrist is so slutty.
I think fashion is cyclic and everything comes back around. We're at a period where we're trying to buy Gucci and MCM, and that happened in the 80s for me. You know, I remember that period. And that's where we're at right now.
Most urban people really don't want things made by other urban people. They want things made by things that they can't attain. They want to buy into a dream just like everybody else does.
I think we as a culture, we aspire to buy Gucci and the Louis and Yves Saint Laurent because that represents to us success.
While urban brands were for us, by us, we were never always loyal to the brands that we followed. There's always kind of this cachet of, I'm gonna go back to the reliable brands that I'm always used to because somehow those brands have much more staying power. They represent a particular social class that I wanna be at. They represent the ultimate in luxury. And the urban brands, they don't represent the same lifestyle that I aspire to have.
Young people want power, they want status, and they want wealth. Hermes, you have a brand like that. You walk in the store and you see, 75-year-old women, like buying scarves and teacups and saddles, for horses. It's a classic heritage house, That young tastemaker, cool person is buying into a heritage and legacy that, that people aspire to.
Everything comes down to class. Class conversation is bigger than a race conversation. Show up class, it's like, I'm high class. And that's what those brands are, Louis, Gucci, all that. And that's part of the reason why they're very skeptical about, working with musicians or rappers because we're considered to be lower class than designers.
Okay, so that was the documentary. That was just a snippet of it. Some people were saying it was echoing. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to learn OBS. So I'll look into that next time. So hopefully it won't echo. But I hope you guys were able to understand what they were saying with or without the echo. It seems like most people could understand it. And what they're saying is true. The fact that all these other houses, these fashion houses, have been able to stand the test of time. But meanwhile, FUBU, nobody's rocking that anymore. Carl Kanai, it's not as popular as it once was. Cross colors, definitely nobody's really rocking that. I know they tried to have like a small reinsurgent last year, but again, that was like a blip on the radar. And do you agree with what Dame Dash was saying and what the others were saying is that sometimes the reason why a lot of these black, fashion designers that were really popular in the 90s, the reason why they fell off, excuse me, is because we as black people, we didn't have any loyalty towards them. It's like, like I said, cross colors was really popular when I was like in 4th, 5th, 6th grade. But by the time I got to 7th grade, if you were caught wearing cross colors, you were a clown. You know what I'm saying? People went in on you like, what the hell are you wearing? Don't nobody wear that no more. But yet and still, if you were wearing Ralph Lauren, nobody clowned you like, oh, that's so 80s. That's so back in the day. So is it our own fault that we did not stay loyal to those brands? And then now we want to sit here and cry about, the industry not letting us in. Like you have Kanye West, how he was going on his whole rant, for almost a year straight about how, the fashion houses in Europe would not let him in. They didn't believe in his whole Yeezy brand and his whole collection and all that stuff. And it's very segregated, I would say that, especially in Europe as far as fashion. There's not a lot of black designers. There's only like a really small minority. A lot of times they don't, they never get as high as like a Ralph Lauren or like a Louis Vuitton. So is it our fault that a lot of these brands, these black brands, now you can just go to Marshall's and Burlington Coat Factory and you'll see Karl Kani, you'll see, Marc Ecko, you'll see Aniche, you'll see stuff like that at like Burlington, but you rarely ever will see a Louis Vuitton shirt or a Louis Vuitton bag at Marshall's. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's more or less our fault, like what they're saying in the documentary, because even when the rappers rap about music, they're not rapping about Karl Kani. They're not rapping about black designers. They're rapping about Tom Ford and, Yves Laurent and all that type of stuff. So let me go to the chat. Shay Riley said, I used to pay $100 for a Karl Kani outfit for my 4-year-old in the 90s, top and bottom. I wish they could run me my money back. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Miss Renee says, sometimes no loyalty or sometimes no money. That's true too. I mean, that's true, but then again, you have people who do have the money, and like that cartoon show, the dude had the money, but did he go with Louis Vuitton or did he go with Cross Colors? He went with Louis Vuitton. So, that's what they're saying. It could be a little bit of both. I'm just trying to go through these comments here. Cartel supports Karl Kani. I'm trying to find Neron's comment. Everybody's saying good comment. Let's see. The Wiley Show says we have to do a better job supporting our creators. Miss Max says Tracy Reese is another black... Oh, it's going so fast. Is another black designer that makes cool clothes, but it's unfortunate she's not that big either. Yes, and that's the truth. I see people saying, oh, there's black designers in Europe. Okay, well, that's fine. But again, they don't have names that ring bells, okay? Like I just said, Tracy Reese. How many of y'all know who Tracy Reese is? Exactly. Of course, there's black designers, but let's not act like these black designers' names ring bell like a Louis Vuitton or like a Ralph Lauren or like a Hermes or like a, Ferragamo. Like, let's keep it real and let's stop trying to, play semantics. Yes, there's black designers, but they're never as popular or as mainstream as these white designers who have been around for years. And that's the point that they're making. The name of the documentary is called Fresh Dress, Shanice. Tiana says, but when we do have black designers, they don't want to be reasonable with the prices. They want to charge an arm and a leg. Now, I get what you're saying, Tiana. I really do. But then you also have to look at it like this, because I know that was like the big argument with the whole Yeezy situation. Like, okay, you're from the south side of Chicago. You know what I mean? You know how it is for us to struggle as black people. And then you drop your Yeezys and your shoes are $300. Your shirt is, $600 for a shirt. That's bullshit. And a lot of black folks got really upset about that. And I definitely get it. Trust me. But then on the other hand, I have to ask myself, why is it that when it comes to black fashion designers, we're so okay, like we want them to like dumb down their prices. You get what I'm saying? Like we want them to give us, shoes for $50 and a shirt for $20. Meanwhile, a lot of us won't have any problem going to spend $600 on a pair of red bottoms or going to spend, $100 on a Supreme shirt. So, I get what you're saying, but a lot of us will spend that money, but we'll just spend it with a different ethnicity. And then we'll get mad at the black designers and say, your prices should be a lot lower. Okay, well, what about Giuseppe Zanotti? Giuseppe Zanotti, you know what I'm saying? I love his shoes. That's probably one of my favorite shoe designer because I love anything with bling and rhinestones. I love his shoes. I go to his store all the time when I'm in Beverly Hills just to get on their damn nerves and try on shoes that I'm not going to buy. I could afford to buy, but I don't want to spend $1,000 on a pair of shoes, but I love their shoes. You know what I'm saying? Why don't we tell Giuseppe Zanotti, no, your shoes are the bomb. I like them. You need to make them $100. He would laugh us out the room like, no, my shoes are $1,000. The price is the price. So I definitely get what you're saying, sis. But is that a double-edged sword that sometimes we want black designers to, charge a lesser price, but then we don't ask the same of white designers? What do you guys think about that? It's already 7:02. I can't believe I've been on here for an hour. This discussion is going so good. Marie says we should value our own more. Let's see here. Melinda says, price is hypocritical because I'm guilty of leaving a seamstress because of price, but went to buy a small item for the same price. Yep, that is true. CJ says you have to prove yourself for years. You can't just be there after a few years. Yes, CJ, and that's a really important point. And that's one thing they talked about in the documentary. The reason why a lot of these brands have a staying power is because a lot of them, like think about Levi's. They've been around since like the 1800s. Like, I mean, on the back of some of the Levi's symbols, Levi Strauss, you see a guy like pushing a plow with horses, right? So they've had a head start on a lot of black designers. Levi's will always be a trusted brand because they've been around forever. And when you think about them being around forever, they were around at a time where black people were not allowed to design clothing. They were not allowed to own businesses. They could work and be the seamstresses and, you know, sew these jeans, but they couldn't have their own jean line. So that's one of the issues that they talked about in Fresh Dress, is that the reason why it's also hard for a lot of black designers to catch up or to have staying power is because we started late in the race, and that wasn't, you know, due to any fault of our own, but due to like slavery and us not having that equal opportunity. Carrie says, but if you like it and if you can afford it, buy it. Beautiful Bliss says, you're right. Shay says, yes, we pay our people what we, hold on. Yep, pay our people. We want handouts from our own, but don't budge when it comes to other folks. Yeah, and that's the truth. I mean, that's just the truth, is that, you know, we'll tell somebody, you know, like I said, I mean, I've even dealt with it with my tea. Oh, well, you know, that's a lot for some, you know, tea. It's $16, and if it's a specialty tea, it's $21, and you can re-steep it 3 times. You're not just, you know, using it once and dumping it out. You can reuse it up to 3 times. Some people are telling me they've been able to re-steep it 4 times. But my thing is, it's a higher quality. So, you know, other people who have loose leaf tea or even Lipton, you know, they can sell their stuff for $5 because it's mass produced and it's a lot of just bullshit crumbs, you know, so they can sell it for a lot cheaper. So again, people are going to pay for what they want to, and if they see the quality in it, they'll pay for it. And that's my thing. If we're not going to sit here and tell other white companies that they need to lower their price, or, you know, if you go into the Guess store or the Ralph Lauren store, or, you know, even True Religion, if you're not going to go in there and start screaming at them, telling them, you know what I'm saying, why the hell are these damn True Religion jeans $200? That's some bullshit. This needs to be $20. If we're not going to go into their store and do that, is it fair for us to yell at Kanye West because he wants to sell his shoes for $300? You know what I mean? And it bothers me sometimes. Like, my son has a pair of Yeezys, and I'm just like, I don't see why you would pay $300 for these shoes. I don't even find Yeezys attractive, but whatever. He likes his Yeezys. He has a job. You know what I'm saying? He works hard for his money, whatever. You know what I mean? But even though it bothers me, again, the price is the price. I just don't have to buy it. So that's really the only other option. You either can buy it or you don't buy it. You know what I'm saying? It's really no in between. But like I said, most folks are not going to go into the True Religion store and pitch a bitch because the price in there is too expensive. My kids took me in there. I said, get me the hell out this store now. I don't want to go into the True Religion store. I don't like going into the Supreme store. Both of those stores just make me cringe because the price is just really extraordinarily high. You know what I'm saying? But again, they don't need to lower their price for me. That just means I don't need to shop there. That's just not my type of store. You know what I mean? The tea should be available in Canada. I have to check. They said that it's available in North America, Canada, and Mexico. But I see a lot of Canadians asking me, so I don't know. I have to check again and see. Let me see. There's so many comments here. Yeezys under Adidas, though. Kanye did not break those shoes under his own name. Adidas helped him and gave him equity. Exactly. Yep, that is very true. Ephraim says Air Jordans cost too much. Yeah, Jordans are expensive. Now, I like Jordans because they're comfortable. I honestly do enjoy Jordans. I have a pair of Jordans. I have a few pairs of Jordans. You know what I'm saying? I do like their shoes. I feel like they're comfortable and they have good quality. But then again, I don't play basketball, you know? So it's all about what you want to, you know, like whatever you want to buy, whatever you're into. Like my brother, he's a sneakerhead. He collects all types of sneakers. That's his thing, you know? So a lot of times we'll look at certain things and we'll turn our nose up, especially as women. We'll be like, oh, I don't see how guys can, you know, spend $200 on some Jordans or $300 on some Yeezys. That's some bullshit. But then we forget the hair on your head. How much does that shit cost? Okay, them wigs be costing $100, $200. So again, people spend money on what they're willing to buy. So that's the thing. It's very easy to point and say, oh, well, you spent $200 on a Supreme shirt. You know, you're full of shit. You're stuck on name brand. But then again, they're telling you this while wearing a $200 wig. So, you know, we're all a bit hypocritical in that sense. And that's just me keeping it real, ladies. Don't be mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying, some of us are walking around with $200, $300, $400 weaves, okay? And then getting mad with when the fellas spend $200, $300 on Jordans. So MLS, thank you for the donation. MLS says, loving the discussion. I'm so glad you're enjoying this. Magnetic Source says, love you, lovely T. Always good content. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Somebody else says, quality is everything. Like my comment says, what we need more is natural hair products. Prices are no. Yeah, they are. Certain people are trying to take advantage with the natural hair products because they know natural hair is a big thing right now. Even underneath the wigs, a lot of girls are natural and they're taking care of their natural hair. So you have some people making natural hair products and they're charging an arm and a leg literally for stuff that they're paying, you know, dollars for. So, but again, we live in a, you know, in a consumerism type society, so whatever people are willing to pay for it, they're gonna pay for it. Now that whole Benny Harlem thing, that was some bullshit, and I feel so bad that a lot of people got scammed. I mean, what he was doing was just straight fraudulent. Like, he wasn't even mixing and making stuff. He was literally taking maple syrup from Ralph's and slapping his label on there. Literally just, you know, taking stuff that's already been made and slapping his label on there. If that ain't some bootleg shit, I don't know what is. Claudia says, why babies who can't walk got Jordans? Because they got young mamas. Because my son had a pair of Jordans when he couldn't walk. That's what happens when you're a young parent. And you know, now that I'm older, if I was to have like another kid now, like the new baby I would have would be dressed so different. But when you're like a teen mom, you be like, I don't want nobody to climb my baby. I don't want nobody to think my baby don't have no gear, no clothes. And that's just what young parents do. They will put Jordans on their kids from head to toe. Got the Jordan hat, the Jordan onesies, the Jordan shoes. You can always tell when the parent of that child is a teenager because they're dressed in all Jordans. My son looks back at his baby pictures and he just laughs like, damn, I had a pair of those. Like, I don't even have a pair of those now. And he had them as a baby. Which are the ones, you know, the ones that they're always like fighting over, the Jordan 11s. He had a pair of the black and white ones when he was like 9 months old, and I took him to Sears to go get a picture. And it's so funny because if you used to buy those same shoes now, they're about $200-$300 now. Sometimes they'll retail on eBay for like $500, and he had a pair of those when he was like 11 months old. So yeah, that's why babies are wearing Jordans, because they usually have young parents who don't know no better. Let me have a baby now. That baby probably be barefoot or wearing just some like regular shoes. Let me see here. What are y'all saying? So I'm going to get off of here about 11:30. I don't want to make this chat too long. I know we're having a good time. Let's see. Okay, so French Taste says the tea's not available on Amazon Canada, only on Amazon.com. Okay, we'll look into that. Thank you for letting me know. Felicia said, it's true. My daughter had these ugly boots her dad brought. We were 17 and 18. She couldn't walk. I forgot the brand. The boots were popular too, like $200. Yeah, it's the truth. When you're a teen parent, that's your money goes towards buying your kids, you know, gear. So that way people don't be like, oh, you know, because you're a young mom, you know, they automatically assume that your kid's going to be bummy, not have no clothes. So it's almost like young parents try to overcompensate by keeping their kids fresh to death. Meanwhile, they're struggling and don't got shit with the babies walking around in Jordans and Uggs and all types of stuff. So I'm just keeping it real. Y'all ask, that's why. Usually their parents are young-minded. They're teenagers. My mom used to have to go off on me at times, like, why are you buying this kid, you know what I'm saying, Air Maxes, and he literally cannot even walk. And I remember one time, you know, she came in my room. I'm crying. The baby's crying because I kept trying to put these Air Maxes on his foot. And my baby kept kicking them off. And he didn't want them. You know, he just wanted to be barefoot and chilling. And I'm like, you got to put these on. We're getting ready to step out. And I'm like, and he kept kicking them off. And I'm crying. He's crying. My mom was like, if you don't take those shoes off that child, he don't need no shoes. He just wants to be barefoot. You need to stop this. Like, my mom was going off on me. Like, she eventually just took the shoes. Like, if you're going to go, just go. Let his toes breathe. So that's what young parents do. I apologize to my son. So Ephraim Hernandez says, thank you, Lovely T, for all you do. Thank you so much, Ephraim. I appreciate it. HT Dimples, I love you too. So now before we leave, let's get on the final topic I wanted to address in the documentary. For those who did not know about Dapper Dan, I didn't know anything about Dapper Dan. If you guys don't know, please watch the documentary. It's very, very good. Dapper Dan was basically like the king of like bootleg in New York. So back when a lot of these rappers could not afford, you know, like Gucci, Louis and stuff like that, they couldn't afford to pay those prices because they were just starting off in the game. So what people would do, they would go to Harlem and they would go see Dapper Dan. And what he did, he took luxury brands and he basically remade them. So he could take like a regular coat and he'd give you like Louis Vuitton sleeves. He could like deck out your entire car interior in Gucci. You know, he'd take pants and, you know, regular jeans and he'd, you know, slap on like a Gucci logo and print and everything else. So he did this for almost 8 years. And what ended up happening is, I have this thing. Let me pull it up here. I have like all my little notes. Let me see if this is the one. They came and they hit him with copyright infringement. They raided his shop in Harlem and he ended up getting shut down. So he went underground for a long time and he was working with like other underground designers. They basically ruined that man's whole business. And I remember when I first watched the documentary about a year ago, and as I'm watching this Dapper Dan segment, because I never heard of him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up in Harlem, so I never heard of him, didn't know nothing about Dapper Dan. But I was like, well, how is he able to do that? Because I'm like, isn't that infringement? Like, you know, how is he able to just keep bootlegging people's stuff and remaking them? And sure enough, later on in the documentary, they talk about him getting raided, right? So, a lot of people found that part of the documentary very interesting, especially if you didn't know about Dapper Dan. And he was so creative, you know, and a lot of the stuff that he created, you know, a lot of these fashion houses, it was more or less jealousy. Granted, he was bootlegging their shit, but a lot of it was jealousy. And that's why they all came together to get his shop shut down and get him arrested for copyright infringement. Let me see here. We got another donation. Nisa, Chocolate Nico, love you, T. Keep succeeding and making amazing content. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, CCT, for the $10 donation. I appreciate it. So, I wanted to give you guys an update on Dapper Dan, okay? So, since this documentary, it came out in 2015, so a lot of people, you know, got to know more about Dapper Dan, you know, find him on social media, follow him. So, what's very interesting is this. If you guys do not know, in 2017, Gucci decided to do a show. They did a runway show. And one of the fashions that they did looked very, very close to a piece that Dapper Dan made in the 80s. So a lot of people called Gucci out. They went in on Gucci. I'm going to show you guys this picture really quick here. Let me find it. Let's see. Nope, wrong one. Is this it? I'm trying to find it. Let's see. It's on my drive. I want to show y'all this picture. It's on my drive. Let me pull it off of my drive. Give me 2 seconds. Because y'all have to see this picture. Ah, here it is. Okay. All right. Do y'all see these lovely ladies here? So, Dapper Dan, this one right here on the right, it has like the fake Louis Vuitton print. Dapper Dan made that in the 80s for this young lady, right? Gucci then decided to copy it in 2017. So it's funny that back in the 80s, they got this man raided. You know, it turned into a federal case against this black man for basically bootlegging their shit. Now, fast forward many years later, Gucci then turns around and bootlegs Dapper Dan's design. So when I tell you people caught Gucci out for their bullshit and their hypocrisy. So then, so much so that Gucci had to release a statement. And I'm going to go ahead and read to you guys the statement that Gucci put out. I had to click on it because it's little. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so Gucci says this. They says Gucci does not dispute the jacket look number 33 is a homage. In a statement, the company says Gucci's new Renaissance Cruise 2018 fashion show. Okay, it wasn't 2017, it was 2018. Sorry. Let's see. Included references to a period of revitalization spanning many different eras, in particular European Renaissance, the 70s and the 80s. The collection also saw a continuation of Alessandro Michel's exploration of faux real culture, with a series of pieces playing on Gucci's logo and monogram, including a puff sleeve bomber jacket from the 1980s in homage to the work of renowned Harlem tailor Daniel Dapper Dan Day, and in celebration of the culture in the era of Harlem. So that is the statement that Gucci had to put out, right? So because a lot of people held Gucci to task, like, you guys are full of shit. Y'all done went and raided this man's shop, ruined his whole, you know, career, life, whatever. And really what they needed to do, like Nas said in the documentary, what they should have done is really hired him on, because he was an innovator. He was doing stuff way back then in the 80s, especially with that whole monogramming thing, that a lot of these houses did not start doing until after Dapper Dan. And even when you think about it, when Supreme first came out, I remember Louis Vuitton suing Supreme because they felt like their monogram logo was too close to Louis Vuitton. And then what they ended up doing with Supreme, instead of them suing them like they did Dapper Dan, they ended up connecting with Supreme. And now you have, like, you know, Louis Vuitton Supreme luggage. And now you have, like, the red Louis Vuitton Supreme gear. So I found that really interesting how Louis Vuitton did that. But when Dapper Dan was bootlegging their shit, it was like they were not trying to work with him. They just wanted him to go to jail, right? So now fast forward many years later, as of this year. Oops, sorry. Wrong one. Okay. So as of this year, thanks to all the outrage of the internet, Dapper Dan and Gucci are now buds, okay? So Dapper Dan is now working with Gucci. Here goes another article. Gucci and Dapper Dan are officially in business. So I want to go ahead and read to you guys this small article really quick here. Let's see. So this was in September. And they said Gucci's Instagram account called the jacket homage. The two parties told the Times in September that they plan to reopen Dap's boutique, only this time with Gucci's help. But now it's not just a press release, it's an actual store. Seen here for the first time, Dapper Dan's boutique is back. This time it's Gucci-fied, this time in a Gucci-fied brownstone on Lenox Avenue in Harlem. And things will be a little different this go round. Instead of Dap tweaking and recontextualizing other brands' goods on his own, Gucci itself will provide him with materials, patches, prints, and all the rest. Basically, he'll be making custom Dapper Dan Gucci gear. And in a fashion moment that let's see here. And in a fashion moment that praises super high-end fashion, logo-heavy streetwear, and collaboration for collaboration's sake, Dap's new Gucci productions are sure to become a major celeb status symbol when the shop opens in January. So it's now November. So it's open. I haven't seen many people talk about it, or I don't know who's all wearing it. But let me see here. We got another one here. L. Raquel says, T, can you make your next doc review the true cost of fashion? Much love to you, by the way. Thank you so much, L. So that's what's going on with Dan nowadays. So it looks like Gucci is now trying to work with him. And so some people are torn. They're like, oh, he's sold out. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be like, you know, this pro, you know, anti-fashion house type guy. And now he's working with Gucci. You know, but I say, you know what? Whatever makes him happy. If he wants to work with them, he's a grown man. He has a right to. But I find it very, very interesting that if the internet had not held Gucci to task and caught them out for appropriating what, you know, they got Dapper Dan arrested for in the 80s, they wouldn't have said anything. They wouldn't have said anything. They wouldn't have reached out to him. They would have done nothing. And basically now they're going to once again use him for his designs and, you know, the way he thinks. He's a very, very talented guy. He created a lot of work for a lot of big name hip hop stars. He did a lot of cold pieces. And like I said, he started a trend way back then that a lot of these fashion houses turned around and emulated and copied. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this collaboration with Dapper Dan and Gucci turns out, you know, but kudos to him. You know, it looks like he's finally got his business back. It's up and running, and Gucci's actually going to be working with him, so that way he doesn't have to bootleg their shit, okay? Taronda says he needs to sue. He has no case. He can't sue them. He was bootlegging their stuff. What he was doing was illegal. It's copyright infringement, so he can't sue. And now he's working with Gucci, so he's not going to sue. MLS says we need to build those bridges. Correct. Yeah, I'm glad he's doing that. Somebody else says, Felicia says, I hope he's going to be paid fairly. Hopefully he will be. Hopefully he will be. Linus the Judas said, I would have politely designed and sued. Pretty Jackson says, I don't trust them. Alvaradi says, they're just trying to steal it. Composite Sketch says, proud to see how far you've come, T. To see your channel and business flourish the way it has while you've done it honestly and with positive energy is inspiring to me. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you so much for the donation, Tina Monic. I appreciate that as well. So our time is coming to an end here. It's 7:24. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this show. Thank you guys for joining me once again for Documentaries and Discussions. I think, you know, we all learned a lot. It was really cool to see where parts, you know, different parts of the country that you guys grew up in and what gear you guys wore growing up. So that was really fun to see that as well. Teresa says, kisses from France. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. D says, T, where are your teas sourced from? They're sourced from Japan. They come all the way from Japan. Nikki says, wow, that went by fast. It really did. The show started at 6. It's 7:25. So I have to get ready to go. I'm going to go see the new Michael Myers movie. I have not seen it yet. I heard it's pretty good. You guys know how I feel about remakes. For the most part, I hate remakes. I think remakes are just a lazy way out. I want to see, you know, new writers, new producers. I want to see, you know, a new crop of people come up with new ideas. So I'm very tired of remakes, but I heard that this remake is pretty good, just like the It remake. I wasn't excited about seeing that, and that ended up being kind of good as well. So I'm going to go see that tonight because I have not seen that yet. So I'm excited. I know they're doing a remake of Bad Boys with Martin and Will. I don't know how I feel about that. I'll wait for the reviews before I run to go see that. I know they were trying to bring back the Martin Show, which I was strongly against. You know, just think about it like this. Because people are like, why are you against that? You know, that's nostalgia. You know, you're a fan of Martin. How can you not be a fan of the new show? Think about it like this. Imagine if, like, you know, those great shows from the 80s. Imagine if they were just like, no, we don't want to leave. We don't want to get old and bow out gracefully. We just want to just do a remake. Imagine if the Jeffersons, instead of them bowing out gracefully, they just wanted to do a remake. Or the Golden Girls. Or the Cosby Show. You know, shows are meant to last a certain amount of time. And then it makes room for new shows. If the Cosby Show or if the Jeffersons or if Good Times only wanted to do remakes, we would have no Fresh Prince. We'd have no Martin. You know, I'd rather see fresh new shows like Blackish and, you know, different things like that. So I'm just not big on this whole TV remake. Even with like the whole Roseanne remake, I could have did without that because I love the original Roseanne. That's still my show. You know what I'm saying? Even though we can't watch it anymore, it was my damn show till they pulled it out for everything. You know, so, and I don't have it on DVD, so it's a wrap. But I love Martin. That's like one of my favorite shows of all time. I watch Martin damn near every night when it comes on television. I watch Fresh Prince a lot. But if I see that damn dark-skinned Aunt V, I change the channel because I still can't stand her. Ever since we had our little battle, if it's one of those old episodes featuring her, I change the damn channel. I only watch it with the damn light-skinned Aunt V, okay? So anyways, you guys, it's getting almost time. Let me read a few more comments. In Living Color was amazing. They don't need to remake In Living Color whatsoever. That's like one of my favorite shows as well from the 90s growing up. And there was a lot of cross-color gear on the Living Colors, too, on the Fly Girls. They always had, like, the most brightest, you know, flyest outfits. And then we seen Cardi B and Bruno Mars remake it when they did the Finesse song. So that was funny. Yes, Miss Mac. She says, and Tommy's not alive either. Exactly. Tommy's not alive. And it's like, you know, I don't want to know what Brother Man is doing 20 years later. Is he still crawling up the fire escape? You know what I'm saying? Talking about... You know what I mean? Like, is little Jerome, I mean, is Jerome, did he finally find a wife? Is that little boy, who was the little bad one when Martin used to be on his knees? I mean, did he finally grow up? Is he standing now on his 2 feet? You know, I'm just not interested. I don't want to know what Shanae's up to. I'd rather leave the 90s in the 90s. Okay, last but not least, before we leave, a reminder to everybody to go out there and vote, okay? So thank you guys for reminding me to say that. Chance, the tea for the red blood cells, they will be in this week. So I'll announce it when it's in. Everything has been shipped to Amazon. We're just waiting for them to sort through everything and get everything, you know, in its proper place and at the distribution center. So you guys will know when that's there. And the nighttime tea will also be there this week as well. So, and those are my 2 babies that I worked on specifically. Oh, I love the Golden Girls. My ringtone forever was the Golden Girls theme song. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confident. Okay, I'm out. It's 7:30, you guys. I'm out of here. I hope you guys had a great time coming through, having documentaries and discussions with me. We'll do it next Sunday. I think what I want to talk about next Sunday is transhumanism. I really want to hit that up. I want to start getting into some of these conspiracies. I told him to do something heavy, light, heavy, and light. So I'm really interested in doing a discussion on transhumanism. So y'all start looking up all the information y'all can on transhumanism. I'll try and find a documentary that you guys can watch on that. But it's a very, very interesting topic, especially now that we're mirroring and we're merging men with machines. And a lot of, you know, robots are starting to take over. And some of these sex dolls, they look so realistic and creepy. It's insane. So I cannot wait to have this conversation next weekend. So make sure you guys join me next Sunday, okay? I'll see you guys later. I'm about to go watch Michael Myers. I'm be in the theater screaming. If you hear somebody screaming, it's probably me, because I scream a lot when I see scary movies. No shame over here. So I'll see y'all later. Bye.